Just explain to us the significance of the fact she will not be going down to London to appoint the new Prime Minister.
Well, it makes sense, doesn't it? She's 96. She has mobility problems, as they put it, which means she's finding it difficult to get around. Well, when I'm 96, I probably will find it a bit difficult to get around. I just hope I make it. So it was absurd, really, to expect her to go 800 miles round trip back to Buckingham Palace, just merely because of this absurdly elongated election process for the Tory party to choose a new leader and therefore a new prime minister. It's not without precedent that the prime minister goes a long way to see the monarch. In 1908, King Edward VII was on holiday at Biarritz on France's Atlantic coast, and he didn't want to interrupt his holiday. And Herbert Asquith, who was the Liberal Prime Minister of the day, he had to go down to see King Tum Tum, as they called him, because he liked his food, and that involved 6 railway journeys and 2 ferry crossings, and the Prime Minister had to spend 4 days doing that. And in more recent times, and things I can remember very clearly, 1963, which was the year of bigger crisis even than now, Harold Macmillan, who was the Tory Prime Minister, he took ill and he went into what was then called King Edward VII Hospital for Officers in Harley Street, and the Queen actually went to the hospital, and the Prime Minister was still in his bed, and she accepted his resignation there. So the monarchy is very flexible on these things. The important thing is that the Queen is at the centre of this process. One person goes in the door and resigns, and another person comes through the door and becomes Prime Minister. That's how it's always worked. And on Tuesday morning, Boris Johnson will fly up in a separate plane to see the Queen tender his seals of office, and a little bit later, that's him arriving. That's when he was actually at one of his meetings. In fact, that's when, and also Mrs. May becoming Prime Minister, and then Cameron. It was always done at Buckingham Palace for the convenience of things. And of course, it was brilliant because Americans marveled at the smooth way there was a transition in this country. I mean, it took them 18 months to elect a president, and yet we did it in a day, and we did it very smoothly. But this time, a little bit more complicated, but it will be done. It will be historic. It will reinforce the ties, I think, between Scotland and England, emphasising that this is a united kingdom. So in a way, I'm sure both the politicians will enjoy their away day on Royal D-side.
Yeah, and we were just looking at images there as you were talking of more recent prime ministers that we have had. And of course, this will be the 15th prime minister during her reign, whoever is appointed on Monday. Just talk to us a little bit about how incredible that actually is, that she's seen 15 prime ministers.
It is, as you say, almost incredible. I mean, she's the oldest head of state in the world. She's seen, I think, 15 American presidents, as you say, 15 prime ministers, going back to Winston Churchill. And when you think that he was born in the 19th century, there is continuity there, isn't there? But of course, that's the essence of monarchy. The Queen herself traces her ancestry back to Alfred the Great, back to the sort of 800s, before even the conquest by William the Conqueror. So this is when the British Constitution at its best, it continues to function. The Queen is central to it. She, of course, will hold power in that interim period between the moment that Boris resigns and the successor appears to take on the role and go back to number 10 Downing Street. And we all hope starts sorting things out.